this thing too, we say that people should do, like Dorothy mentioned too, that her plumber told her to run hot water, down their sewer lines, but just maybe do several small loads of laundry instead of one big load. Just make more water keep flowing through the sewer. We've got that in our notice too, that's helpful.
Only problem with that, that's only, what, once or twice a week?
Well, maybe you do it more often just because of this,
But washing, clothes
The
washing.
only thing is, it costs money to heat the water.
Well, that's true.
You got a natural gas bill, you got, I know it's not all your problems, but I'm just saying, it costs money to heat the water, it costs money to run the faucet, it costs money to have the guys come and look. We tried all the cheaper routes before we went to the expensive route, and they almost gave up.
But you see,
Because ours was so frozen, they almost, after 29 and a half hours, and 3 arc welders on ours, they finally got through, but he almost gave up. He almost quit.
I believe it was Bangor, I heard. They hooked up an arc welder and left it unattended. They came back
no,
not to
they
find a
stayed.
home. Home was burnt to the ground.
Yep.
So, well, we don't want that. So,
And these guys stayed
yep.
all night long.
All night.
All night. They didn't leave. 2 guys. All night long, they stayed with those arc welders. And all we did all night long was think, every hour we looked at the clock and we thought, another $200 gone, another $200 gone. Because that's how much it costed. It was like $90 to $200 an hour, depending on how many welders they had running. And our bill would have been worse, except they cut us some slack on 1 welder. It should have been more than what it was, because they only charged us for 2 and they were using 3.
You don't necessarily have to have all that water going down the drain either. I mean, if you're running a pencil stream of water, if you could put it into a bucket or a container or something, you can save that water and
we
put
do.
it in your toilet tank or whatever.
And we do.
So that it doesn't
We use
go
it for
down the drain,
coffee,
isn't
I use it
wasted.
for whatever I
Yeah.
can think of.
But don't you remember how much you said, a gallon a minute? You gotta stand there.
It says 1,440
You can only use it
gallons a
so
day.
fast.
Well, I don't know, that seems a lot. That seems like a
Well,
lot. I
we're
don't know.
going according to what he told us to run it. He said a pencil string.
Yeah.
And the pencil string at the bottom, not at the top, at the bottom,
It
is,
seems like a lot of water.
and we even cut back from what he had us started at.
I
Because he
think
said
Joe-
it to start
Joe-
with.
Didn't Joe tell me a gallon and a half a minute?
Yep,
So-
and we've cut back because it's getting too much water. I
Well-
wasn't raised that way to throw water down the drain like that. I mean, it's
This
just
is
driving
the
me
city's
crazy.
problem. Every taxpayer in town has gotta face this. So I would recommend that you put a notice in the paper and get a thermometer and check your water. If it's down at 35 degrees, you ought to call the city here and say that you're gonna start running a little water. Otherwise, we're gonna have a mess.
Like I said, the notice we put out does say that, to check your temperature, and if it gets cold, to run it.
But like, how cold?
I think we said below 40.
See, the ones that I checked today, one was at 37, one was 38, and 3 of them at 39. Mine was at 41.
I'll tell you, that water is cold, and I mean cold.
Let's get some directions. Steve, do you have a recommendation? I mean, we're talking about,
The long term is we've gotta get our engineers to come up with a solution, at least on Grove. I don't know of any other pockets in town that are like that. So that's the long-term solution. The short-term solution is folks that are gonna run water need to contact City Hall so that we can make an adjustment to their bill.
I agree.
I think that's the only
sooner,
logical way to do it.
yes, as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And would the engineers also tell us how much was taken off the top on the grade of the street?
They'll tell us all of that.
Good.
But the answer might be, this isn't any different than the road was before. It's just, this is a crazy year for frost.
Well, that's true also.
Yeah.
So we should be prepared in case that's the, that's the answer.
Go ahead.
Hey, Brian again, they didn't really change the height of the road though, because they left the curbs, you gotta remember.
Right, but
So-
the pipe underneath, if they replaced the
Oh,
main,
they changed
they
that.
might have changed the
Sure.
depth of the pipe.
But the road itself couldn't,
Yeah.
I mean, really, because the curbs were left there.
Right.
So,
Go ahead.
Could it have to do with some of with the settling too? That there's, like ours has been city water for, I don't even remember when we put it in, because we used to have a sand point. But could it be some of the settlage, it's not settled properly around the pipes and that's why it's not insulating them?
Well, they compacted all the water
I
mains.
know, but I'm just saying it's still new ground.
It's possible, but I doubt it.
You don't think so?
Usually what'll happen is it could be 4 or 5 inches higher than it was before. It shouldn't be, but that's what I'm thinking. Or, like I said, it's another foot down than it's ever been before, and that's just what's getting it.
And because they follow the streets, to keep the streets, which is safety, I understand
Right.
that.
But here's the bad news, we got 2.5, 3 months left before that frost's gonna come out.
It's a
You've been a
lot
ray of
water.
sunshine today, council member.
Well,
It's gonna be tough.
with the electronic reading though, you We can are- take a snapshot nearly every day.
Yes,
You
can.
If needed.
if
need
needed.
be, To tell who's running and who isn't.
We should know if they're running that amount of water through.
Right,
But still, it's helpful if they tell us.
right.
That's the problem, is folks aren't gonna tell us. Just like they didn't tell us 2 years ago or last year when their pipes froze. I don't think anybody here at City Hall knew that.
I called your chef or came over to my house and checked our meters, both of them.
2 years ago? Or-
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that didn't rise enough to the level that we might have been able
And
to
he
do
told
something
me just to
about.
run, just leave my valve on, so when it comes back on, it'll come back on. Then I use Dorothy's water, so I got a witness of both Dorothy
Yeah.
and Joe.
I don't doubt you. I'm just saying, the more understanding that we have about
Right.
what's happening in our system, the better we can anticipate problems and try to fix them.
And understanding where these pockets might be occurring
Right.
would be very helpful to prevent,
Well-
if we do need to insulate or
Just
try
this
to do
afternoon,
something.
the house behind Stennis
It's
down here,
such a waste of water.
whatever her name is.
Right behind Deanna's Dennis's,
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Just
What is her name?
They shot it.
They froze up today?
Yep.
Was that in the city or was that in? was
No,
that-
that's what, it's
Think
same place, in the same place probably,
in the street.
probably. I don't know, we just heard that she was. The other ones have been oddball, one's across the street from me, one's up on the avenue,
Yeah, Craig
One's
Hanson's
in
up on the
Brooklyn.
avenue.
except for the Grove Street crew,
Us.
they're all together, but everybody else has just been, oddball ones here and there.
Leave snow on the streets and everybody gets a snowmobile. Can we do that?
Let me get
That'll
back
go
to
over big
business.
too.
So it like.
Are we on consensus? Can we move on here?
Thank you very much,
Yes.
folks, for
Tell you.
coming to the meeting.
We're working under the system now of, like they do in Florida,